that is the process of submission. Do you have any questions on that?
Actually, you made that really clear. So, I don't have a lot of questions. But so I noticed how for like the submission part, you attached a screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like a screenshot of, I guess our finished website or um, like us using the website, I guess?
Well, the screenshot can be any of those things, but ideally we want it to be something that you would use to market your project. Um, so eventually we're going to build out this profile page to have like a gallery of all your projects that people can then clone your project. So do you know Scratch?
Yes.
So if you go to Scratch, we're going to eventually have it like Scratch, where you have a gallery of everyone's projects that they publish. There's a check mark that says you want it to review by GOOM. If you want it there, then we will put it on our like featured project list so that people can click on your project, see a description, and copy it, talk about it, and have all this type of social activity around an actual web project that doesn't require special like coding language like Scratch.
Uh,
Um, so your screenshot should be something like you would put on Scratch.
okay. Yeah, okay, well that makes sense. So okay, so I guess like just a general question, because like I feel like I might not necessarily submit the coding challenge before September 30th. So like after September 30th, is the submission place like closed for like the certain workshop?
What do you think, GA? That's a good question for GA.
Uh, yeah, actually, well, we need to keep our schedule as it is, but if you really want to submit the project, not for challenges, but for the featured project is the project will be presented in our website. Then, yeah, actually there is a chance as well. So if you want to submit your project hoping that it's presented on our website, then you can publish, you can kind of have an option in publish menu. Jared, can you go back to
Yeah,
the
I can show her
publish
that.
menu? Yeah.
So you can submit your project anytime. It just won't be available for the competition because we're going to need to announce a winner, and we need some time to review it.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that.
So if I go back to the files here, I guess I'm doing it the wrong way. I should go here. And here, when you publish it, there's this check mark, submit to featured projects on Boon website. So if this is checked, then whatever you submit could potentially be on our website.
Oh, that's really cool actually.
So we really,
Yeah, I think
glad you like that.
sorry.
We really want to market our website with all of the creations people have created with it.
Yeah, so
Jared, a lot of people's submissions. Yes.
Yeah, so Jared, can you go to our landing page?
Sure. Oh, whoops.
Oh.
I guess let's put that. Okay, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So there will be, well, at the moment, there are only 3 projects, but definitely that selected project will be presented like in this section, as well as we will gonna have a full project gallery in the end. But for now, we will present your awesome work on here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so cool. I think I'm really proud of that. So basically the featured websites, we could do it for the coding projects, like from the workshops, or we could do it for, I guess, our own projects. Like either would work. That's awesome. So, I noticed how like in the workshops, so like Plume is basically um mainly for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript right now.
Mm-hmm. There's
Okay.
Python too, but I didn't really go. I'm not really going into that far, but yeah, there's some
Oh,
Python.
okay. Yeah, so I was wondering, because like I'm not really sure how this works, but like are you able to, I guess, like import other things? Because I noticed how in one of the workshops, like on one of the workshops you were showing, how there was
Mm-hmm.
like CSV or SVG,
Yeah,
and so I
SVG.
was wondering, yeah, and like all these things like plotly.js, like how would that work? Like how do you embed that in HTML, if that makes sense?
Certainly. So SVG is actually a subset of HTML. It's a
Oh.
way to draw using draw two-dimensional and three-dimensional, mostly two-dimensional things using HTML tags. And there's another one called A-frame, which is another HTML based language that you can do VR and AR with HTML. So it's not like we're not introducing a new language here. It's just a subset of HTML.
Oh,
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, what I just showed you is just the teeniest bit of what is out there. Um, with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can do many things that you didn't know. And that's the point of this workshop, is to show you the things you can do with those three technologies. So I know a lot of people would do data visualization in Python or use MATLAB or some other tools out there that which are really good at data visualization. But JavaScript is just as good. And the good thing about JavaScript and HTML CSS is it's just on the web. You don't need to, all you need is a browser to access it. You don't need a special app on your phone. You don't need a special app on your desktop. You don't need anything native. So it's really easy to share with everyone. So that's why we're sticking with those technologies. We want people to show off what they create.
yeah, I think that's really convenient because like I'm not exactly sure like how you would incorporate like Python with HTML and CSS or like other coding languages, but it just like seems far more complex.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
There
So
is, yeah. There is ways, but it's just too complex.
okay. Yeah. So would plotly.js also be like a sub language of JavaScript?
Mm-hmm. It's a library of JavaScript.
Okay, so can we actually like code in the library? Like how does that work? Like do we take things out of it or
So what we do is we, just like in Python, you would like import. I don't know if you know the idea of importing libraries, but
not really.
so plotly.js, there's also a plotly Python too, but they have a library that you just inject in your code. So if I go to, let me give you an example of a library.
Thank you.
Um,
So
so here, I can show you. We have a Python console here in our app where you can do Python in the browser. You can do like print, print hot. And this is using the Python library. So if you want to see how this works, you can always go to inspect element on any website. And you can, it's like seeing how the website works. So if I go here to this, the other thing you do is view page source. Let me do view page source. I think that might be better in this case. Actually, no, here it is right here. So here, this style script tag right here has, I am loading some Python here. And right here is how I import the Python library. I just write this in my HTML and I just give it a URL and because then all the Python code will be available for me to use in my web application.
Okay.
So it's as easy as adding a script tag.
That's interesting. Because like I thought the script tag was like just for JavaScript, but
yeah, that's the great thing about this.
Python.
Yeah, this Python library, they actually convert Python to JavaScript inside the browser, so the browser can understand it, but it'll allow you to write Python. So that's this type text Python 3 here is only available because I imported this library, which teaches the browser how to understand Python.
Oh, okay, that's convenient. Yeah, because that would be like a lot less converting, I guess, on our side.
Yeah, you don't have to do the work. It does the work for you.
Okay, that's great. So then would that be like pretty much the same concept for like other JavaScript libraries?
Exactly. That's how we're going to do the plotly. We're just going to import plotly as a script tag.
Why would there be multiple JavaScript libraries though?
Oh, like here, why does Python have 2?
Yeah.
So this one here, because, okay, let me answer the question. It's a good idea when you're coding to make a file that does one thing very well. Because if you have a file that does many different things, when you fix a bug in one thing, you might break something else somewhere else, and you might just break everything. So in this case, the developers of Python wrote a library to just convert Python into JavaScript, just to do the translation. And then they wrote another library to bring in the standard Python libraries that, if you know Python, you would import. So there would be like, let's see, import RE is a standard one. See. And then once I import the RE library, I can do, replace. I can do regex. I don't know if you know regex. Maybe this isn't a good example. Import date time. I think that's another one. No. I don't really know much Python right now. My mind's on JavaScript, but basically there's all these fundamental libraries that Python has that they rewrote in JavaScript here so that you can use those libraries. Hope that makes sense.
Oh yeah. That actually makes a lot more sense. So, okay. So then all of this would be back-end coding?
All of this is actually all front-end coding.
Okay.
You can do a tremendous amount in just front-end coding. So we're planning to show you all the things you can do in front-end programming for the first few workshops. And then we'll get into back-end programming if there's enough interest to do it.
Yeah, well, I would be really interested in knowing, because like I've heard the terms and like I've tried like kind of Googling them to make sense of it, but I'm still kind of confused like on what's the difference between front end and back end, because I thought front end is just like what we see, I guess, that involves like HTML and CSS, but then I thought like interactive code or something would be back end. But
yeah, there's some back end in here too. The difference, to answer your question, is the front end programming is you're writing code to tell your browser or tell the computer, basically your computer, what you want it to run. So all the code you're writing is ran on your computer. Well, back-end programming is you have a server someplace else, another computer that you're interacting with through the browser, and you're running code on that server. So it's just the difference of where you're running the code.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. That's interesting.
So, and a lot of things you could only do in backend, you can now do a lot in front end. So the need to do backend programming to do certain things is becoming less and less.
Okay. So for front end coding, would that also be what you see? So like basically what you see on your computer would
Mhm.
also be what other people see on their computer?
Yes. So I guess in Goom, all you're writing programs to run on people's browsers, but the
Right.
files you're creating are stored on the server so that other people can see what you wrote on their computers.
Okay, and so that would be back-end
Yeah,
coding.
so there's some backend there integrated in Goom.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I did not realize that.
Mhm.
Um,
And we'll get into that with this chat app. We're going to do some backend here.
mhm.
Um, I think really starting with the chat app, we're going to do some backend.
Yeah, I mean, like, it
Do
looks
some.
like you have a lot of workshops ahead. I'm really excited.
I'm glad you are. Hope you can attend all of them, Jiaming.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely going to try to.
All right.
Um, yeah.